and understands practically everything involving arm wrestling at a high level. Even watching videos where he is explaining to people like Larry what to do, he seems to have a good head on his shoulders. You can have all the genetics and the roids in the world, but if you don't put training in the binary equation, it is set to false. Plus, you gotta give it to the fact that steroids are a subset of genetics. Look at Boston Lloyd. The guy was cruising probably quadruple what Levan is taking, and he didn't accomplish shit in bodybuilding and died not nearly 30 years old. I have this opinion on steroids, that they are a cheat code at low levels, but when you get to the elite, they are useful only if backed up by a godly response to them and insane work ethics. Consistency. A lot of people will just point fingers and make snarky comments like roids. But a huge, often neglected, factor that goes into his success is incredible consistency. In a 2020 interview with Outcompete, the French guy, Levan says he has been training the same for 12 years and he's at a point of being fed up with it. For 12 years, 14 by this point, the guy has been hitting the gym 4 times a week, doing basically the same exercises over and over: bicep, chest, shoulder, tricep, etc. In this footage from 2015, Levan and the Georgian guys could be seen performing the same thing they're still doing now: rows, bicep curls, finger curls, pull-ups, rolling handles. Note that he was already 130 kilos back then and looked exceptionally lean for 130 kilos. The same is true for most of the top European athletes. Look at how Zulalov trains and you'll see the same exercises for 2 decades straight. These guys have taken the same thing, only harder to the next level. Just beautiful and simple consistency. Given that I assume he pulled the way he did because he either thought it was the smartest thing to do or had physical limitations. Super matches performance. In the second round, Devon versus Levan, he focused his pressure higher and dragged less. That meant that he wasn't attacking the spots that Devon was giving up, like the center of the table, and instead focused on the things that Devon wanted to take, which would be his riser. Look at his hand, he keeps it flatter and his fingers are higher. That resulted in Devon losing leverage, overexerting and tearing his biceps. Arms did that too in the third round when Levan flash pinned him. He thought that giving up his hand in order to press would help him, but instead he got flashed because Levan had momentum and dragged him too far outside of his shoulder. He needed to attack with everything, and then transition once he secured the stop. In the first round, it was the first time Levan didn't go deep down squat with an explosive side pressure plus cupping immediately as he always does. Seems like he wanted to test Devon's new strength in the middle, trying to gassing him out from the outside like he did few months ago with the left sparring, and he figured it out in 10 seconds. In a video Levan posted, he was spotted holding Sandro in the exact same position Devon was in. The only thing missing was Levan shifting into a press, which I think he and his crew were secretly working on and had up their sleeves. Initially, Devon managed to halt it, and both were locked in the center of the table. Levan started cautiously due to his wrist feeling off and not being warmed up yet. As time passed, it looked like Devon was tiring out faster than Levan, and Levan's wrist was loosening up. He attempted that side surge attack like he did against Dinas, but couldn't really move Levan much. Then, Levan retaliated with a side surge of his own. Devon defended by squatting and going lower. Levan pretended to go for a second side surge, and Devon anticipated it by squatting even lower to defend, but didn't see Levan transitioning into a press. At this moment, Devon's only choice was to go full-on King's move as Levan and his team expected. Both guys were getting worn out in this position, but Devon was bleeding more than Levan. After round 1, Devon's arm was compromised, and Levan easily cut through him in the following rounds. Levan's table IQ and versatility. I think this rematch also shows that Levan's table IQ has improved tremendously, and he is good at analyzing past matches and improving upon them. Hence, not some 400-pound musclehead meatball that some think he is. He has both inside and outside game, has a nasty press, and can transition between them flawlessly as shown in the last match, while Devon is relying on the King's move half of the time. Underplaying Levan's table IQ and insane versatility is just funny at this point, but you do you, bro. What gassed Devon was the sheer amount of force Levan put into that first flop press. After Devon tried to hold that, he used pretty much all of his power just trying to stop it. But Levan still had enough energy to gain his wrist back and flash Devon 3 more times in the later rounds. Levan wins by strength, but his defensive posting transition to top roll was spotless.
That's it.
His training methodology. Levan has been doing the same training regimen for the past 10 years or so. He says it in his YouTube channel. He lifts 4 days a week, 3 to 4 hours each session, focusing on different muscle groups each session. And he will be doing the same thing regardless of who he faces next, shooting for higher and higher PRs over time. He does back pressure and pronation on separate days. He likes to do pronation on his bicep days since he feels like those two muscles are complementary in his style of pulling. He would catch someone's hit with his bicep and cup and then roll out with pronation. He prefers doing hammer curls with the strap attached to free weight, with the strap going over his fingers rather than to the side of his hand. This makes the exercise more challenging by placing more stress on radial deviation, and he has to use less weight. If he feels he can maintain his health, maybe preparing for the next generation, someone will be there to challenge him one day. Look at Devon. It's hard to build strength quickly. It takes years, compared to the frame of a 6'8" guy. Sometimes we all need a reminder of the obvious truth. Arm wrestling is still a strength sport, and consistent gym work is a huge factor. Levan says when he started, he weighed 85 kilos and couldn't do a single pull-up. The current champion is a result of 14 years of consistent hard work. Levan is a driven, hard worker. Some people act like he got his talent by injecting the Captain America serum and didn't work for it. He's a perfect storm of hard work, genetics, and high responder to juice. Levan training in some snuff film basement is the most intimidating thing about this. Those dudes are breathing pure asbestos and they don't give a shit.